Hello everyone, Nolan West here. Session is now well underway and we certainly have our work cut out for us. This session will likely take place entirely remotely, which means that all committee hearings are going to be held via Zoom and floor sessions will be held with limited members in the chamber. And that is going to make crafting a $50 billion-ish budget or passing any complex legislation exceedingly difficult. As I'm sure many of you are experiencing, a Zoom meeting is not a good place for a back and forth dialogue. I mean, it works for presentations, sure, but an active dialogue between two opposing sides with long-winded politicians, this is bound to be a complete disaster. That being said, here's what I think are the biggest issues that we need to focus on going into session. And the number one issue should be ensuring efficient vaccine distribution, because that will get us back to our real lives. We've passed a lot of COVID funding these last few months, but our state is struggling mightily to get the vaccines into the arms of people. We are 42nd in the nation in terms of vaccine distribution. That's not good. We're behind Wisconsin and even Mississippi. We received a little over $3.5 million from the federal government to plan for and implement COVID-19 vaccination services and increase access to vaccination. If funding for the vaccine distribution comes up, the legislature needs to allocate money. It's too important. The funds must not be bundled with other political issues. And too often the legislature does this with easily bipartisan provisions, and then they get bundled with extremely partisan stuff, and both end up dying. And Democrats could use this to cut law enforcement, or Republicans in the Senate could use this to lower taxes. But to use vaccine funding as a political weapon to force through partisan legislation is just wrong. The legislature also needs to set a 2-year budget this year. Minnesota still is only the divided legislature in the entire country, with Republicans in the Senate and Democrats in the House. And that alone makes passing a budget pretty difficult. But trying to pass a budget remotely is likely going to be even less smooth. A conversation that would normally take 10 minutes to resolve on a budget issue now could require an hour-long Zoom meeting or 25 emails. Last budget that we passed, the public was largely boxed out of the whole process, like they are now pretty much, with the governor, the Senate majority leader, and the Speaker of their House negotiating the bills behind closed doors without much input from legislators of either party or either body. I am hopeful a larger effort will be made this year, but I'm not holding my breath. I mean, things tend to be done in the poorest way possible here. Being in the minority means there's not much I can do about it, but I will focus on what I can do, and that's getting money for Highway 65. The last big thing I'd like to see from this session is a comprehensive transportation bill. Right now is the perfect time to get our roads in shape across Minnesota, and especially Highway 65. According to the Minnesota Department of Transportation, there are 31 critical intersections in the metro area, and 11 of those are on a 1.5-mile stretch on 65 in Blaine. And with more dollars in our system, that means more money for Highway 65 because it is objectively the worst highway in the metro area. The pandemic has brought a lot less traffic, and many businesses have allowed more remote work. So it'll be a while before traffic comes back like it was. This is a big benefit when it comes to physically rebuilding our roads. But since people are driving less, it does come at the cost of lower transportation revenues like the gas tax, because people are buying less gas. Maintaining our infrastructure is a core function of government. We do way too much outside of that. And we shouldn't balance our budget on a core function of government like roads and bridges. I want to make sure that Highway 65 doesn't get lost in this budget crunch we're going to experience. And this is part of what I'm looking at. These are the big things. Make sure we get vaccine distribution smoothly finished. We got to make sure we pass a budget that actually works for the people of Minnesota. And we need to make sure we maintain our infrastructure so we can keep up momentum on Highway 65. So those are the 3 big things I'm working on. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.